Akura, Abu Nubu Kaka Kaka, Akaranubu Amadyo, Kalakanune Ibe, Azundune Ije, Kamjide, Azundumeje Ije, Media Kaka, Jindu Kaka Kaka. Welcome everyone. My whole category of life. Wake up. My bloodline is well. I call upon the black race in player. I call upon the black race in prayer to say it how most people will understand. And may all the gods of passion, the heat gods, wake up. About it. I have a very important message for this live stream. Thank you for those of you who joined me earlier when I did my first ever soccer update on Chimoge's comments. I'm going to do another one after this. Ha! Yes. Kalakanu Kalenibe ha. Kalakanu Kalenibe ha. Abumive kaka kaka. Abunkaive kanua. Abu Mamadio, Abu Mokika, Kalakano Karani Beha, Abu Mamadio Honey Beha, Abu Mamadio he Abu Mamadio he Kalakano Karani ha, Kalakano Karani Beha, Abu Mamadio Nekeha. Abu make jigeki kaka. Abu make no kike ya. Abu make jike kaka kaka. Abu mo pare eke jike no anketa. Abu mo pare eke jike kaka kaka. O pare eke jike kike kaka. O pare eke jike ni me ha ha. Abu mo pare eke jike no wa. Abuma parake jike kaka huha. Abuma madio ha kaka. Abuma madio ha kanua. Abuma parake jike nua. Abuma parake jike kaka. Abuma parake jike kara. Abuma pare pa 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 pa. Abuma pare pa 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 pa. Abuma pare pa 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 pa. Abuma pare, o pare na pare bua madi yoha, o pare na pare bua madi yoha, ka, ak para bua madi yoha, ok para ilejai. Abuma pare, pe, pa, abuma pare, nero nuwa, abuma pare, shangelo nuwa. Abu Shango Kaka. Abu Shango Shangri-La. Yes, let me get right into it. Thank you to my returning viewers. I hope you all enjoyed my opening song. For the new people, I'll give you 4 things. First, and this is the greeting, more extended now. My government name is Chimoge Chijoke Ibe. Second, my favorite number is 1111. Yeah. Third, I was born in Southeast Washington, D.C. And fourth, my matrilineal village is Ebhem Ohafia. Look it up. Let's go. There is no such thing as a wedding. What do I mean? We are mislabeling ceremonies and or rituals that people undergo in relation to their relationships, and we're giving them inappropriate meaning. Not that they shouldn't have a lot of meaning, but we're giving them the wrong meaning. Let's go. Kalashani kareni beha, abu mama yuhani beha, abu mama yuhani pera, abu mama yuhani beha, kalashani kareni beha, abu mama yuhani beha, abu mama yuhani beha, abu mama yuhani beha. Hua, ha, ha. Kalakanu kareni benua. You see, I've been thinking a lot about relationship culture, and wow, I just saw a big number. I just saw the number 4444. 4 times my favorite number. Let me just make 1,000 wishes, and may each of them go into nature. May all the people in nature help me, and just do good things with these wishes. Amadioha. Make some wishes as well. Let me give you two. One, I wish that we revive soccer in this world properly. And to be clear, soccer is a method of divination. So it's not just for fun, although fun is important. And two, I of course wish, in line with my message here, that we fix the global romantic relationship crisis. I'm gone. Let me come back now. Kalakanu ha ha ha. Kalakanu ne archer. Yes. So, a big part of modern relationship culture is the so-called wedding. What is a wedding? I'm sure you all know, but let me just say it to frame this discussion. It is a ceremony in which two people, and I want to note, in theory, more than two people can be the center of the wedding, but that's not how it typically goes. It is the ceremony in which two people agree to be in a romantic relationship forever. And I'll leave it at that. Now, let me say this. Agreeing to be together forever is not bad. That should happen. It's just that choice has to happen every second of one's existence. And because of that, such agreements should not be looked at that much. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I hope you know what I mean. There are healthier ways to encourage people to follow their destiny. Let me read. Yes. Calling in all the saints. May my category of life prepare them to interact with me. My bloodline as well. AKGK. You see, to add to that, it's better that people simply express their desire to be with each other forever. And I'll leave it at that. That is a beautiful thing. Let's look at the agreement aspect though. People get too focused on agreement in terms of force. You said this before, therefore it must happen. That is generally speaking not a good thing. And I'll just say generally because there are some weird exceptions. And I'll leave it at that. But these exceptions do not occur in the romantic space. Just because someone said, and this is about as, explicit as I'll get. It won't be very explicit, but I'll just say this so you get what I'm saying. Just because someone said, I'm going to live in this house with you forever yesterday, doesn't mean they should be forced to do it the next day. Let me You see, modern wedding culture puts too much pressure on the agreement to be together forever. There are many aspects to this, but there are two aspects I'll talk about. But before this, I want to make it clear. I'm not one of those people who says that people should not express the desire to be together forever. And I'm not one of those people who says that it's healthy to have many transient relationships. That's not good. Okay, you should know what I mean. But the other extreme is bad as well. Modern weddings put too much pressure on the agreement to be together forever for two reasons, primarily. One, because of the level of publicity. It goes without saying, if someone says publicly, I agree to do this, and then they do something else, they look bad. No one wants to look bad. And I'll leave it at that. So because of that, that is just too much pressure. Now I'm going to say this. Part of the point of life is to be able to handle pressure, but the pressure should happen in the right place. Pressure in romantic relationships should be around not forcing people to do things primarily. And I'll leave it at that. And of course, people should be encouraged to follow their desires. And internally, people should interrogate what their desires are. But outside forces should not force action. Let's move. So that level of publicity is too much. And again, I'm going to circle back to this. Relationships should have a public aspect. It's just, it should happen a certain way. So hold that thought. So the level of publicity is too much. And two, the amount of vows that people make are too much. If people got up there, and you should know what I mean, if people got up there and just said, I want to be with you forever, I mean, one, that's not bad. That's good. People should be saying that, right? Because at some point we have to hold that this idea that it takes 1,000,000 years to know whether or not you have destiny with someone is crazy. You can know in a second. And desire is what it is. It's a beautiful thing. You can just say, I want to be with you forever. And that does not force you to do anything the next day. It's just if everything is going well, desire will be there long term. And I'll leave it at that. Anyway, if people got up and said that, no problem. Next, if people got up there and said, I promise to be with you forever, which they do, but if that was all they said, it would not be as bad, and probably people would not take it as seriously. But people get up there and make 10 million vows. They speak for 5 minutes. I love you, I want to do this, I promise, blah, 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 blah. It's too much. So really, you're not even making one vow. Or another way of saying that is you're making so many promises around the central promise that it's like a spell. And I'll leave it at that. It's just too much. And that's really all I'm going to say, because I hope you guys know the space I'm getting into. Because then we have to turn our eyes into the conversations that we see happening in these marriages, especially marriages that grow out of the fourth biggest cult in the world today, Christianity. And that is the base template of marriage in the world today. There is too much conversation in that context about duty. And I'll leave it at that. Let So that's very inappropriate. Let me go into the 4 different categories of what I'll call desire and choice groupings. First, and this is in a romantic context, first, we have cases where uh, people desire to be together and choose to be together. That is the base case in terms of existence in this world. That one is fine, at least theoretically. The question there is just whether or not that desire and choice is appropriate. But that's not the primary problem we're dealing with in the world today. It's these other three categories that shouldn't exist. I'll start from the back. We have the worst case where at least one person does not desire to be with the other and does not choose it. And then some outside force causes evil to happen and makes things happen. Not good. Let me pause. Next, let me take a pause. Again, forgive me. I'm just gonna go. The next category is where at least one person does not actually have a desire to be together, and this desire is physical, and I'll leave it at that. Obviously, the physical intertwines with other things, but there must be a physical desire. And keep in mind that your mind is also a part of your body. I'll leave it at that. So, a person has no desire to be with the other, but freely chooses to be with the other. In other words, they force themselves to be with the other person. This is uncomfortable. That happens. Not good. There's a lot that goes into that. Then there's the third category where it's flipped, where a person has a desire to be with someone else, but they choose not to be with someone else. And then this could lead to situations where, someone might give mixed signals, things of that nature. Anyway, those are unpleasant scenarios. I don't want to go too much into detail. Don't want to be too explicit, but at the same time, we have to acknowledge those things are happening. Modern marriage culture encourages all of those things to happen by making people think the marriage is a trap. And this can happen even if the person consciously wanted to go into the marriage in the first place. I just want to emphasize this. Saying that you want to be with someone forever is healthy, natural, and normal. But thinking that because you said you would 5 years ago, now you must do it, else XYZ bad thing will happen, despite your lack of a combination of desire and choice, is bad. These three things I mentioned before shouldn't exist. Modern marriage culture, in terms of framing marriage as a trap, and you can check out one of my previous live streams about that. I think it was on Shimoge's comments. I might have also done one here on Inquiry about that. But, the idea that marriage is a trap is really the floor of all these things. It's the base, it holds them up in society today. That should not exist. So, I'm just going to go on and provide alternatives to the modern wedding. And I'll leave it at that. Because we do need ways to publicly show affection and also ways to let the world know what's going on in our lives. Because another outproduct of modern wedding culture is that the modern marriage becomes a cult. It is a cult of at least two, shrouded in secrecy, but it occupies the married couples, at least, life primarily. Because of that, no one knows anyone. people go into their house and their house is their marriage, and they're in their house for 15 hours a day. Not good. So here are my alternatives, and I'll list 3 actions as alternatives, and then I'll just give an example of how those actions could manifest in an event. 1, 2 people in a relationship, and again, for the record, I always say this just because it's not the norm, at least to do openly, and it's debatable if it's going on, if it's not open, but anyway, I always say this. Non-monogamous relationships should be the default, as in monogamy is evil, as in no one should be monogamous. So when I'm saying 2 people, I'm not saying that's the only relationship they have. But, individual connections are important. So every person has individual relationships with people. Anyway, action 1. 2 people who have a relationship with each other, and that's the language I like to use, tell others what has happened in their relationship. 2, second action. 2 people who have a relationship with each other tell others what they currently are doing in their relationship. Another way of saying this is they tell others their current collective state of being. Let me move. Action 3. 2 people who currently have a relationship with each other tell others what they wish to do in their relationship going forward. And this is an expression of desire. This is not a binding agreement. But I want to emphasize, these are people in this idea who are healthy and follow their desires. And I want to emphasize this. When people are healthy and follow their desires are overall consistent. And I just want to leave it at that. Remember, I'm not a detailed person. Please use your discretion and common sense. Let me move. So, how could these 3 actions be incorporated into an event? Let me give an example. And again, remember, I'm not a detailed person. 2 people who have a relationship with each other throw an event at a property they're renting, and the purpose of this event, let's say that the purpose of this event is fivefold, but all five of the purposes have to do with a recent sports event that they want to unpack. Okay. At the end of the event, they're both feeling good, and so are everyone else they invited. So they decide to speak. They get up and they say three things. They say, one, we've been together for 5 months now, and, things have been going well. Here are some things we've done. And then they show maybe pictures and videos of them at events together. Two, right now, we are married, and that is how we feel based on our state of being, and we feel good, and everyone claps. And then three, they both say that they want to go forward with their relationship, and everyone claps and says hooray. That's an example. I think that's a kind of thing that could benefit society if things like that happen. And then afterwards, that event could be noted and unpacked, and the relationship could be given support. Because at the end of the day, another problem with modern relationship culture is that after the big event, the so-called wedding, the couple is really not supported. People assume that now that they've moved in together or whatever, and really, a lot of people associate marriage with moving in together. I'm not necessarily that guy. I know most married couples live together, but a lot of people who don't say they're married yet don't yet live together. And living together by itself is not marriage, so But anyway, a lot of people, according to the stereotype, assume that now that they've gone through that event and they live together, they're fine, and then they wait to hear, about, I don't know, the honeymoon or something. But anyway, that's not really enough support. And if no one really knows what's going on with either of the individuals, especially outside of that relationship, you can't support the relationship. So, it's just not good. If people are able to unpack people's public statements in line with what I said, relationships could receive more support because people have more of an idea of what people need. And that's what I got to say today. Thank you very much. Um, I'm gonna go do something else for a bit, but I'm gonna do some more live streams today. See you guys next time. Kalakanu karanibe,